One of the best things about BookTube is the fact that it is such a community. You can meet so many great friends. But can you trust them with book recommendations? Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is For a Pause in a Book. I make bookish videos over here on my little corner of the internet, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Today we are doing the next installment of Can I Trust My BookTube Friends? This is a collab project that we have been doing for the majority of the year at this point. And each video we dedicate to one of our friends and we read their book recommendations. So along with myself, it is Crystal from Bond Book Reviews, Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, Leandra from the TBR Zero, Neva from Reading with Neva, Brooklyn from Brooklyn Reads, Julie from Keep Calm with Books and Coffee, and Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers. And Nicole is the person that we are highlighting today. So if you're new to my channel and you have no idea what I'm talking about, basically the 7 of us, so everyone except Nicole, will read one book, and then Nicole has given us 2 other books that are personal recommendations or recommendations that she thinks that we'll like or that we were interested in, something along those lines, and then we read them, and then all of the videos are coming out today. So there's actually a playlist. I'll link it down below so you can watch all of our videos, and it's fun time. So the book that we are all reading together is Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff. This is a literary fiction, kind of thriller-esque book about a woman whose husband mysteriously goes missing, and then other women are coming to her to also mysteriously disappear their husbands. This is an Indian author. She's a debut author. I'm really excited about this book. I've heard good things about it. Even though literary fiction is not typically like the genre that I gravitate towards, I'm still excited about this book. And then the 2 books that I will be reading that were recommended by Nicole is The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. This is the creator of Shondaland, which is Grey's Anatomy and Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. Specifically those 3. I'm sure she's written other things, but those are the 3 that she's most well known for. I have watched Grey's Anatomy for so long. I actually don't watch it as much anymore. I feel like after like the core group kind of left and moved on, I also moved on. However, I love Scandal, love that show. I also really love How to Get Away with Murder. So I'm really excited to read her memoir. I'm hoping that we get some behind the scenes stuff when it comes to like those shows, like talking about how she created that. I don't know if that's what this book is about, but we'll see. And then finally, I will be reading a book that I do actually own, and that is Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. This is a historical fantasy. I think it's a gender-bent retelling of The Great Gatsby, which does scare me because obviously The Great Gatsby is, well, it's a classic, but it is a classic. And it's definitely not one that I loved in high school, but I'm hoping that when we say it's gender bent, we say it's queer, like there's witches, I like all of those things sound appealing to me. So we will see what happens. With that said, let's get into the vlog portion of the video. I am 35-ish% of the way through Bandit Queens, which is the group book. This is the book that everybody is reading, and I didn't know what to think of this book. I had heard of it, but it's literary fiction, which is not something that I read very often, and it's just, it wasn't, it would not have necessarily been my pick for the book, but that's okay. That's the whole point of this project, is to like read outside your comfort zone. And this is like surprising me in ways. I think it has a really dark sense of humor. I mean, this is about a woman who's like called a self-made widow because her husband disappeared. And her husband was a little abusive. Also, my face looks green because my screensaver on my computer is on. I promise you I'm not actually green and my face isn't changing. It's, yeah. Anyways, other women are coming to her being like, well, can you do what you did to your husband, to my husband? It's giving kind of like Finley Donovan vibes with that kind of humor to it. It's definitely darker than Finley Donovan though. It's also kind of giving me, not in the premise, but just in like the mannerisms and the way that the characters kind of interact, and just like the dark humor of erotic stories for Punjabi widows, I think is the book. I read this book years ago, but it's kind of giving kind of the same vibe. I think if you liked one, you might like the other. But I'm only 35% of the way in. And I don't think, like, it's a little bit slice of life, and I don't necessarily know like what the plot is of this book right now. Like, I'm liking the characters, I'm liking the interactions, the banter is fun, but I don't know where the story is going. And so because of that, it's causing me to, like, when I'm reading the book, I'm really enjoying it. But it's kind of causing me to not want to pick up the book when I put it down, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the level of interest that I have right now. When I'm reading it, I'm liking it, but like, I could be doing so many other things. I could be reading other books and I would be fine. It is reading really fast, even though it's like a longer audiobook. I think it's like 12 and a half hours or something like that. I feel like I said, when I was reading it, it was going really fast, and I, like, you know, sped through that first part of it. But I just wanted to update you. I will come back when I'm a little bit farther in. Hello, I am here. I'm gonna make this a very, very quick update because it is 100 degrees and I'm sitting in my car in the afternoon, and I have to turn the AC off in order to get sound. So I finished Bandit Queens. Okay, I don't know what to, I don't actually have thoughts about this book. I think it started really, really well. And like, when I talked to you last, it was like, I was intrigued by it. It read really fast. But the middle slogged so much. And I think part of that is not necessarily because of the book being bad, or the book, you know, not doing what the book was trying to do. I think that it's just that it's literary fiction, and literary fiction tends to look at like life in a broad spectrum, and it looks at it from different angles. And like, I think I just went into this book with the wrong expectations. I thought it was more thriller, and it's not. It is slice of life in a weird way. I will stand by like the comparisons of this. If you liked one, you'll like the other. And here's the thing, if you like those books, I think you can absolutely trust Nicole. And I think this is just a case of like, this is not a Brie book. It's not a bad book, it's just not a Brie book. And due to the fact that like enjoyment is such a big chunk of my scoring, this is gonna fall lower than probably what it deserves. I think it's gonna sit right around a 3.5, which like doesn't feel bad, but like it's a low 3 point. It's probably closer to a 3, honestly. This is not a bad book. It's just not a Brie book. If you like this style of book, I think that you'll enjoy this. I think you'll have a good time with this. I could think of so many people to recommend this book to. It's just not me. We are going to move on to our second book, and that's going to be the nonfiction. So I will touch base with you when I read that one. That one's really short, so I may not even update you at all while I'm reading it. Hello! It's been a bit since I've talked to you, but I've actually finished my second book for this vlog. I read it very quickly. I actually just listened to the audiobook while I was at work today and read the entire thing. It's only a 7-hour audiobook, but I read The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, or Year of Yes. I don't know if there's a the in it. So first off, I don't rate nonfiction, so I'm not going to be giving a star rating for this. I think that is a perfectly average nonfiction motivational book. That's about all that I can say about it. I don't think it did anything fantastic. I don't think it did anything revolutionary. I didn't love her writing style, which is sad because like, I love Scandal, I love Grey's Anatomy, I love her writing in shows, but the writing style in this book was, I don't know how to put it, but she was very repetitive. I think that she tried to do things in topics rather than like trying to do something chronologically, and then because of that she kept circling back to the same point, because if this singular event that happened worked to like make the point in 3 different chapters, she would use it 3 different times in a little bit of a different way, but like it was the same story, if that makes sense. I don't know, like even though it was only 7 hours, I think the book was too long. I think it made the same point over and over and over again. So yeah, if you don't ever read nonfiction or you don't ever read motivational books, sure, you might get something out of this. This is like the book that you would give your coworker at work that you don't like know anything about for a birthday or Christmas or whatever. It didn't do anything phenomenal. It didn't do anything revolutionary. And there were a couple of times where like she started talking about the writing process of Grey's Anatomy or the process of Scandal, and like I was like, oh, I'm here for those. Like I wanted to know the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty of creating such a vast and complex world as those shows. But like it was just like minute, okay? Like it was so brief. And like, I know that's not the point of the book, but unfortunately, like that's just how I felt about this book. So, you know, like if I was rating it, it would be like 3 stars because it was like fine. It was average. Anyways, here we are. That was the second book down. I hope we're going to end on a more positive note. I actually don't know much about it, but it's the only one that I own of this. So we're going to be reading Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. It was blurbed by Alexis Henderson, which is an author that I have loved in the past. And it has like Great Gatsby vibes to it. In a world of 1920s decadence and excess. It was a debut. Dark magic, romance, and murder. A sapphic historical fantasy. Why didn't I know about this? I mean, I know about it. I actually bought this book originally because I paid for one of those like TBR companies, like TBR Co or something like that, to send me like books, and like they were going to recommend me 3 books, and this was one of them. This is the only one I didn't read of that one, and I hated both of the other books. Like I gave them 2 or 3 stars, and so I scrapped the video because I didn't I was hating on the books. I didn't like them, and it was a very boring vlog. And so because of that, this one has just sat on my shelf for the last 1.5 years or something like that. So glad to be getting to it, but I'm really hoping that video like was not an omen. And I will love this book. Like it has a lot of the things that I should like in it. Historical fantasy scares me a little bit, but I have liked historical fantasies before. So we'll see what happens. I'll touch base with you when I'm a little bit farther into it. Okay, the lighting is shit right now, but, and I also look like a hot mess. This is what happens when you work for 9.5 hours and it's 100 degrees, 104, sorry. I am about 50% of the way through Wild and Wicked Things. I read about 50 pages of this last night, and I was completely prepared to come on here and tell you that I was loving it, that the writing style was gorgeous, that it was really drawing you in, very atmospheric. And I feel like at the beginning, I did feel like that. It has this like, they're on this small island. She's trying to figure out things about her father that passed, and so she's gone to his estate. But like now 50% in, I'm so bored. I actually I do not care. And it's gotten to the point where the writing style is beyond pretty. Like it's still pretty, but it's not doing anything to help the book anymore. Like I get it, it's atmospheric, it's a vibe, like, but now we need more. And I feel like our 2 main characters are so similar that I can't tell them apart. So I don't know. I'm bored. I'm bored. Like I can see objectively why this is a good book, and I can see why certain people would enjoy it. I can see why Nicole would like it. But it's not doing anything for me. It's not doing anything bad, but it's not doing anything for me, which I'm struggling. And at first I was like, well, maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it's, you know, because I'm in a slump or something like that, because I feel like all of the books in this vlog have just been books that existed. But I have had 3 other 5 stars this month. And so it's not me, it is the books, and it's me not enjoying the books. Does that make sense? That's where we're at here. I'm not to the point where I want to DNF the book, but I am to the point where I need something to happen. I was excited because this is like supposed to be this gender bent sapphic Great Gatsby retelling, and like, okay, Great Gatsby is not a favorite classic of mine. I didn't love it when I read it in high school. But when you say it's gender bent and it's queer, I'm like, great, love that. Like, oh, and also there's witches. Like, we love that. It's not doing any of those things exceptionally well. And so because of that, this feels like a very mid book. That's my piece, my update. I'm hoping to finish this tonight because we are cutting it close with this vlog. It's supposed to go up on Saturday. It's Thursday today. So it's fine. It's fine. Hello. I am here to wrap up this vlog. I finished up Wild and Wicked Things this morning at work. I hate that this entire vlog was full of mediocre books. Not only because I don't like putting out vlogs where I don't have strong opinions on any of the books, but I also don't think that it's a great indicator of obviously Nicole's reading taste, because Nicole is a fantastic human, and like, go subscribe to her if you haven't done that already. She has good book recommendations, and I don't know what it was about these 3 books specifically that were just mediocre. Like, I don't even have interesting things to talk about with any of these books. I was really hoping, like when I started this book, I was like, great, we're going to at least end this on a win, and I'm not. Like this is 3 stars. It's perfectly fine. And again, I think if you like this type of writing and this style of story, this is gonna work for you. This is like a very interesting comparison of Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow, House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. I feel like that's probably like the best comparison I can give. And I think that I'm finding that as I go through this like reading evolution, that witchy books may not be where I like my like horror fantasy. And not that witches are like horror, but they're a little bit more like dark and spooky than your typical high fantasy. And this definitely has that like gothic horror feel, but in a fantasy book, if that makes sense. And gothic books tend to not work as well for me, which is a bummer, because I really had high expectations for this and I was really hoping that I would love it. And again, I think that if you like that slower paced book, like a slower paced story, just really getting to know the characters and the backstories and the lore and the magic, then this book is gonna work for you. Like this book has its fans. Like I think that there's a lot of people that will really, really love this book. Again, it's just not a Brie book. And I hate that, because this video was entirely designed around like picking books that Nicole recommended, and the whole premise of this, like, can I trust Nicole with book recommendations? And I hate that I've now gone like 2 in a row almost, where I think was it 2 in a row, yeah, where I didn't love the books. And I really want people to understand that it is like not a Nicole thing, it's a me thing. I don't know. Maybe I can't recommend myself books because like Nicole had a whole list of books, and I was just, I apparently picked 2 that were just mediocre. Just mid. It's a bummer. It is a bummer. I can 100% see why Nicole likes this book. I can 100% see why this would be somebody's favorite book. Oh, you know what would be another like really interesting comparison to this book would be The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw. Obviously that's a YA book. This is going to be adult, but I feel like the comparisons between that book also work with this, and I gave that one 3 stars too. It's a me thing. It's just a me thing. I'm so sorry, Nicole. Can we still be friends? I'm going to link everybody down below. I'm going to have the playlist link down below so you can go check out everybody's videos. Hopefully, I actually haven't talked to many people about the books this month. In past ones, I have like kind of touched base, but I've been kind of disconnected from BookTube, mostly because of like family stuff. I've been pretty disconnected from BookTube this month. So I actually don't know how everyone else is doing, but I really hope that everyone else loved their books more than I did. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Go subscribe to Nicole. I promise you she's a wonderful human. Her recommendations are fantastic. I just apparently don't know what I like in books. It's fine. In order to make our comment section a little bit more positive, let me know down in the comments below the last book that you absolutely love. And if you're not feeling chatty, do like a witch emoji. That's all I have for you today. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Told you this was temporary, didn't I?